Why can you watch a TV show in a foreign language, but once you talk with a native speaker, your brain freezes and you can't say anything? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple, but the solution is hard. So in this video, I'm going to go over why this happens in the first place, and also give you strategies that you could use to bridge the gap between a TV show and actually speaking with a native speaker. Now, before I jump into that, if you're interested, I've been working on a web app called Mizas.com, and it has tools like being able to watch videos, being able to create flashcards, being able to save audio clips, and using those audio clips for speaking practice. So if that's something that interests you, go check it out. Now on to why this happens in the first place, and I want to explain this with a little bit of a story. So take this guy right here. His name is Todd. He's learning French, and today he has a language exchange call with one of his friends that he met online. Now he's excited for the call, because this is the first time that he's calling someone. So to prepare for this call, he thought, you know what, I'm going to watch a TV show in French so I could get my mind thinking about the language. So he makes himself a cup of tea, gets comfy, and starts watching the show. At this point, it's going great. He's not watching it with subtitles, he's just sitting there enjoying it, and he could follow the plot of the story pretty well. So now he's motivated, and it's getting close to the time that the call was scheduled for. So he goes over to his office, sets up his phone, and waits for a little bit until the other person is ready. And he's getting nervous, like it's gonna happen soon. He starts to sweat a little bit, and then the call comes through. He picks up the phone, and the first little bit goes pretty well, because the common things that you say, like, hey, how are you doing? How was your day? What did you do? That type of stuff. It's stuff that he's already gone through a few times. But once it goes deeper into the conversation, he freezes. He stops being able to understand what the French friend is saying. He keeps on having to say, like, can you say that one more time? Can you say it a little bit slower? And he takes forever to actually think of a response back. 15 minutes later, and his brain was fried. The only thing he could do at that point was just keep on saying, sorry. I wish I could have said more. I wish I could have communicated better. And he got off the call devastated. He thought he was going to do very well on the call, but it went horribly. So what happened there? He was watching the TV show and he was perfectly fine, but once he got on the call, he did miserably. Listening to that story, you might have already noticed the difference. While he was watching TV, he wasn't stressed. He didn't have to worry about talking back. He was relaxed. While he was on the call, and even before he got on the call, he was nervous. He was thinking of, how do I keep the conversation going? How do I respond? He was stressed out. This makes all of the difference. When you're speaking with a native speaker, you're thinking about much more than just being able to understand them. You have to think about how to respond and keep the conversation flowing. And once you're thinking about that, it starts to cut off your ability to understand things if you're not used to it. And once that starts happening, you have to start asking them, can you repeat that one more time? Can you repeat it slower? And every single time you do that, you feel a little bit more defeated. So it's a spiral that makes you feel worse and worse about how you're doing. So the question is, how do you bridge the gap from being able to understand a TV show to speaking with a native speaker? So I'm going to go over 3 ways that you can work to bridge this gap. And I'm actually going to do this in reverse order because the last one is the most obvious, which is simply talk to native speakers. And I'll give you a personal example because I had been learning Japanese a long time before I moved to Japan. And I got used to starting to call with people and having conversations, and it was pretty okay. But when I moved to Japan, it was like a completely different thing because everyone spoke Japanese and everyone was talking differently because there's different accents, different paces. It was a lot to take in, and it was Japanese all of the time, and it was exhausting. Then after 15 months of living in Japan, I got much better at just being able to communicate. I started having conversations with people for like 6 hours without feeling tired afterwards because I just got used to it. And I'll tell you, I actually didn't learn a lot of new Japanese by the time I got there till the time I left. Most of what I knew going in was what I knew going out. It was just a matter of getting used to using what I had been learning. Now, obviously, not everyone could go to another country and be immersed in language. I mean, it took me several years of planning before I was able to do it myself. So what's a way that you could bridge that gap without having to move off to another country? And also, what can you do if you're not at a level to be confident on a language exchange call like our friend Todd over there? Well, Number 2 is a way to bridge that gap. It is a paid option and it is kind of optional, but it definitely works, which is hiring a tutor to practice with you. This one is a surefire way to make sure you have someone on your time and will be able to talk with you at your level. Now, one thing to consider, if you want to get your money's worth, you have to have a plan before you get on a call with the tutor. Don't rely on the tutor to create the plan for you. You have to be proactive with this. It could be as simple as, hey, I have this conversation topic that I want to work on, or I found this content online. Could you help me go through it in a way that I could use with a native speaker? Come up with anything. But the important thing to think about is that the tutor is not there to teach you. They're just there to support you. Because while you're on a call with a tutor, you're probably going to talk with them for like a half an hour at most. And that might be as little as once a week. It's not enough to learn the language. They are only there to help you practice what you're already learning. And this is kind of what happened to me in Japan. I already practiced a lot on my own. I just needed someone there to allow me to use what I had already been learning. So keep that in mind if you're going to get a tutor. Now let's move on to the next one. And this is the one they probably wouldn't expect, because it actually has nothing to do with actually talking. And this is simply message native speakers on language exchange apps. You'll be surprised at how much messages can actually improve your spoken language, because these messages actually reflect real conversations that you would have with native speakers. Except it does one thing. It relieves the pressure of having to communicate in real time. You can almost think of it like an interactive TV show. You watch the content and then you can figure out the response on your own time. It removes the stress. The more you practice responding to messages, the better and faster you'll get. It's a muscle that has to be worked. It's like working out. If you want to get stronger, you have to work out your muscles. And the first time you do something, it could be very painful. Like just recently, I started trying to do these negative sets of pull-ups. So I would do as many pull-ups as I can until I couldn't lift myself up anymore. And then I would take a bench and stand up, lift myself up to the top position, and then lower myself down, negative sets. And I would do that until I hit 50. And that really killed my arm. The first time I did that, I had like T-Rex arms for like 4 days. I couldn't extend them out because it was just a shock to my system, and my biceps were just torn up. But after I recovered, I did it again. It was sore again for like 3 days, but it wasn't as bad. I could extend them out farther. I did it again, and it gets more comfortable. You get better at it, and your body gets used to it. It's the same thing with messages. The first time you start doing this, you might spend like 20 minutes on a message and feel exhausted afterwards, but you are working that muscle. The more you do it, the better you'll get, the less strain you'll have when you're actually trying to communicate with someone. And if you want something a little bit more challenging, you could try this with voice messages. This is as close as you could get with a live conversation without having the pressure of having to respond quickly. You could listen to what they're saying, you could think through your response, so you could even record yourself multiple times before you send the one that you want to send. It gives you time without the pressure of a live conversation. So those are 3 things you could do to help bridge that gap, but it does take time. So don't feel bad if it feels like you're not gaining a lot of progress. It simply takes time, and any little bit that you do will help you get better. And if this video wasn't enough for you and you want more ways to practice speaking, you could go watch this video over here where I go over my favorite way to practice speaking. And it really focuses on pronunciation. How do you go from not being able to speak the language to speaking it like a native speaker would? So if you want to learn how to do that, go watch that video. I'll see you over there.